Page 222, doubling a guitar track. One of the most common tricks when recording electric guitars is to double the guitar part to fatten the sound. In this exercise, you'll double Chad's riff and then pan the tracks left and right so it sounds like different players for each part. So number one, we're going to drag the single take of Chad's riff to the Clean Studio stack track. Moving it down, there it is. Number two, option drag the same region down one track to the Surfin' in stereo track. Option drag, there we go. So I made a copy, Surfin' stereo. Number two, start playback. Says the two sounds work well together. You can try different patches later. The idea is that you've created a different sound by doubling the guitar part. This technique also works well with the acoustic guitar patch and electric guitar patch for the two tracks. To separate the double tracks so that they sound like two different players, you can drag the pan dial up to pan the sound left or down to pan the sound right. A little panning goes a long way. You'll learn more about panning tracks in Lesson 8, mixing music and adding EQ effects. It says number 4, in the Clean Studio stack track header, click the pan knob and drag down slowly until the pan overlay says -25 left. That's right here. Dragging it down, -25 left. And then on page 223, number 5, drag up slowly on the Surfin' in stereo track pan knob until the overlay shows +25 right. +25. Number 6, play the tracks to see if you can hear the acoustic separation of the instruments now that one is more to the left and the other more right. Yeah, I mean, if you're listening through your headphones, you can tell a difference right away. And that sounds a lot better. As you can see, it only takes a few minutes to double guitar track, but it can make a big difference in the overall sound in a finished mix. Moving on to splitting a guitar region to create dynamic change. Another electric guitar effect trick is to change patches in the middle of the song or even in the middle of a section of the song to change the song's dynamic. Dynamic changes are changes in volume within a song. An example of dynamic change would be a song that starts out with a light piano instrumental intro and then kicks into full throttle rock in the verse or chorus. In this exercise, you'll split the guitar riff region and place half on one track and half on the other so that the dynamic jumps from one sound to the other. Then you'll extend one region so that the two guitar parts overlap to make the edit less abrupt. So what kind of dynamic changes are we going for? Well, let's follow Chad's lead and create a dynamic he likes to use on stage. In his words, he likes to make the dynamic go from fun and lighthearted to kicking in the door. Let's play the finished version to hear Chad's dynamic change. So what we're going to do is, number 1, we're going to solo the Chad W's Tweed track, then solo the Chad W's Maelstrom track. All right, so we've got a bunch of things muted right now. So we're going to solo the Tweed and solo the Maelstrom. Go ahead and drag this out as well, my cycle out, and let's listen. Yeah, it sounds like it's kicking in the door. All right, moving to page 224, number 2. It says, play the project and see if Chad achieved the dynamic range he was going for. What do you think? I'd say a mission accomplished. So now let's turn. Now it's your turn to create the same effect. Number 3, unsolo both of the tracks you just listened to. Directly below those tracks are 2 empty tracks with the same guitar patches. Solo the empty Amazing Tweed and the Maelstrom tracks. Let's move the empty tracks so that you'll be working with up to the position above the Wide Wah track. To reposition a track, you drag the empty space in the track's header. All right. So here we go. We got to unsolo these first of all. We're going to click on both of these. We're going to move that above the wide wall. Same with this one, above the wide wall. Number 5, it says drag the region in the surfing in stereo track down into empty amazing tweed track. So surfing in stereo, that's this one. I'm going to drag that down to the amazing tweed. Page 225, it says you can split an electric guitar region in the timeline the same as you can split an audio region in Lesson 5. Just remember, to split a region in the timeline, it has to be selected and the playhead needs to be in the position where you'd like to make the split. So number 6, select the region in the amazing tweed track. If it's not already selected, move the playhead to bar 5 and press Command T. So I'm moving this to bar 5, amazing tweed, that's selected. Right there, that region right here is selected. We're at bar 5. If you wanted a closer look at it, just press E for editor, making sure that you're at bar 5. Press Command T, and that's going to split these in two. Number 7, it says drag the second region in the amazing tweed track down to the maelstrom track. Dragging that down. Flipping the page to 226. It says turn off cycle mode and listen to your edit to hear the dynamic change at bar 5. Turning off cycle mode, you can press that or you can press C. Pressing the return or enter button to return to 0 and then pressing spacebar to play. Oh, another thing, we need to solo these, otherwise we're going to hear everything. Oops, I'm muted. Solo. There we go. Alright, it says number 9, drag the right edge of the region in the amazing tweed track and extend it 1 measure to bar 6. It says solo the heavy kit drummer track and listen to your finished edit. Alright, so we're going to drag this one over to bar 6, and the reason why is because we want it to overlap just a bit. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see bar 6 a little bit better. Dragging that over. We are also going to... Where is that drummer track? I'll just solo that one. Alright, here we go. All right, hey, that second electric guitar is just ridiculous. I'm not a big fan. I would absolutely change some of those effects just to make them a little bit more clearer sounding. All right, number 10, it says save your project. That's it. You've successfully split an audio region and moved the second half to another track to create an interesting dynamic. Still moving on, preparing the project. Before moving on to the next exercise, let's do a little housekeeping to make sure the right tracks are audible. Unsolo the amazing tweed and maelstrom tracks. Okay. Unsoloed. Unsolo the drummer track. Unsoloed. Solo the razor face track. Razor face is soloed now. Press Y or click the library button to hide the library. All right. And it says adjust the horizontal zoom level in the timeline as needed using the slider or by pressing Command right arrow, Command left arrow until you can see from the bar from bar 1 to bar 26 in the ruler. All right. So we need to zoom out a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Now the project is ready for the next exercise, and we will pick that up next in the next video.